Hey, what is up guys, this is Corb, and the good old Vault Keeper Wixwell fusion is live. Let's do this, man. Let's go for the calendar. And here we are, man. Speedy as hell. First of all, if you're going into this event and you're looking to get this thing done, you're probably going to want at least like 1,500 gems, 2,000 to be safe, just saved up, ready to roll. This is going to be a very energy intensive event calendar, especially at the start here. Like, this opening block of events is honestly going to be super expensive for you to run through, depending on how much prep you've made, I suppose, towards the champion training event. But if you're going into this kind of raw, kind of rough, not from the best spot, I'd highly recommend that you've got a good stockpile of gems, a good war chest of gems ready to go for those all-important energy refills. 25 million silver, I'd recommend that as just the starting amount of silver to go into these events with, as kind of like a minimum. This is relying on the fact that you're maybe able to make some money from crafting items and artifacts in your forge to sell off, as well as, you know, earning silver throughout the event. Yeah, from just grinding campaign, that kind of thing, you know. You're going to need other ways to earn silver, but 25 million silver is really the minimum that I would look to go into this fusion event with. Now, because it is also a champion fusion event, okay, so we're going to need to be collecting up 16 copies of Teryx the Restless. We're also going to need to be ranking this guy up to 4-star. Leveling him up to 40, and then max ascending him. Same thing as well with our Quivergrass, right? And so that means that we're going to need a whole good stockpile of potions ready to go as well. And so this is worth bearing in mind. These are some starting supplies that you're probably going to want to have in the bank ready to go going into the fusion. Now, let's start off with, you know what, man? Let's start off with the nastiest, the gnarliest, the most despicable events. The ones that are kind of easy to screw up. Again, if you're also not prepped, these are going to be the Champion Chase Tournament and the Summon Rush event. I also want to point out as well that you are going to have your hands, if you pull enough in the Summon Rush event, to actually, if you have enough shards ready to go, you can actually just pull, or rather earn, an Arwid Quivergrass straight up from one of these Summon Rush events. That's going to be very dependent on just how many Sacreds you have to go, because you're going to be pulling Sacreds during Summon Rush, right? And so, yeah, unless you got like 7 or 8 or 9 Sacreds or something ready to pull, I'm just going to assume that you don't. You're going to be trying to hit every single event here, right? You can't miss a single event if you're looking to actually get this done. You got to hit them all, right? If you're going to get the 16 copies required of Teryx the Restless to get this done. Just be aware of that, man. You can't miss a gosh darn thing. So, Champion Chase Tournament, of course, points are awarded based on how many or rather the champion quality you are pulling from your shards. There's going to be a 2x opening event during this for ancient shards, and so you're going to be opening ancient shards for this Champion Chase Tournament. How many are you going to need? That is going to be something around 50-ish or 60-ish, something like that. Again, it's a bit RNG dependent. If you get very unlucky with your pulls and you're just never pulling epics or legendaries, it's going to sting a little bit more. Yeah, otherwise 50-ish, 60-ish will probably be about the average that you want to go into this event with in the bank. Now, it's also quite important to note that Champion Chase tournaments, you can also gain points in these from fusing champions. What does that mean? It means that if you can get, you need your copies of Teryx the Restless, right? You need 4 of them to fuse 1 Arwid Quivergrass. What does that actually mean? It means that if you get the Dungeon Divers event here done, the Dragon Tournament done, the Artifact Enhancement event done, maybe even the Champ Training or the Classic Arena Takedown, and you get enough Teryxes super early on during the Champ Chase Tournament to summon your first Arwid Quivergrass, you want to do it during this Champion Chase Tournament. Very important stuff. Doing so and fusing this Arwid during the Champion Chase will give you 250 free tournament points, man. Just right off the bat. Very nice and easy and smooth to do. So just make sure that you do that. Make sure that you get that done. It's going to be the most efficient way to fuse your first Arwid. And yeah, that is the first Champion Chase Tournament, man. Moving down a little bit, we've of course got the Summon Rush. This is about going to take, I don't know, 5 or 6 Sacred Shards, or 5 or 6 Sacred Shards, plus, I don't know, a couple of Primals, you know, if you're willing to spend those, a few Voids. The 5 Sacreds is going to be a really good starting point. Try not to open up Ancient Shards during the Summon Rush event unless you absolutely have to just kind of nudge yourself over the line. It's quite inefficient. Summon Rush events, you're of course gaining points based on the quality of shard that you are pulling, not the quality of champion that is coming out of the shard, which is why sacreds are going to be just the most efficient. Next up, we've got energy, and my god, man, the dungeon tournaments, that's like dragon, ice golem, all of that stuff, they usually take around 2,000 energy each, but the way that these things fall and the way that these things kind of land, especially early on in this calendar, is sort of rough, right? So yes, while you'll be spending 2,000 energy roughly on this dragon tournament, all up in here, you got to note that it overlaps perfectly right now on day 1 with the first Dungeon Divers event, which is just like right here and just right here, as you can see. So they have like perfect overlap. However, the Dungeon Divers event usually costs like, I don't know, 5,000 energy to get you towards the first Teryx the Restless, something like that. It's quite the energy investment, it's quite the grind. Why is this kind of scary? Well, it's kind of scary because it also overlaps with the Champion Training event for like the first half of the Champ Training event here. Why is that kind of scary? Well, because you're generally going to be doing quite a bit of grinding, quite a bit of food grinding, leveling your champs, stuff like that, especially if you don't have many experienced brews to work with in your tavern. With champ training, and so you can quite easily end up spending like a whole bunch of energy additionally into champ training at the same time as you're spending energy into the Dungeon Divers event. And so be ready to dump a crap load of gems and farm a crap load of stuff and just be very, very on your game for the first few days. I'd highly recommend that you waste absolutely no time and start blasting the hell out of Dragon like crazy just as soon as possible. Christ, get the Dragon tournament completely done tonight and like more than half of the Dungeon Divers event done tonight as well, if you can. Okay, that's how good of a start you want to get in this fusion. You can really, really waste no time because it's just a lot of grinding, man, early on. I might as well actually just run through, just add all of the predicted, I guess, like energy totals that are going to be required for all of these events as well. Of course, we have another Champion Training tournament coming up. And just to kind of touch on these real quick, the Champion Training event, again, if you've got as many food champs as you possibly can, all pre-leveled, ready to go, 4-star food, stuff like that. I've got enough food champs ready to go, like nearly 100 food champs ready to go, enough so that I can quite comfortably rank up 3 champions to 6-star during this Champion Training event. So I'm quite confident going into this, and I would highly recommend that if you do have food champs ready to roll out, you spend them and use them during the Champion Training event right here, and not the Champion Training tournament. Why? Because skill books are going to be your best friend, skill bees, we'll just call them, in Champion Training tournaments. Especially legendary and epic skill tobs, right? If you're spending those in the tavern, they're going to earn you Champion Training tournament points. They will not work in the Champion Training event, so don't bother using them there. Hold your skill tomes for the Champion Training tournament. Could be very, very useful. And same thing if you've also got champions waiting for potions, right? If you're waiting to ascend some of your better champions, some of your rank 6 champions, stuff like that, and you've been holding off, this Champion Training tournament is going to be the time to pump some potions into those guys and just get yourself some free points. So all in all, the Champion Training tournament is going to be much, much less intense. Again, I really, really do feel like the real intense part of this event calendar is really at the start. I feel like there's so much grinding to be done over the next 4 days. So just be ready again to blast a good amount of gems, a good amount of energy, time and effort into not missing any of these events super, super early on. It's really, really going to be quite crucial. And to help you out with that, why not go ahead and use the happy little promo code GameLeap. It's our promo code, man. From us to you, it's going to get you 10 free experience brews, 100,000 silver, which, I mean, you know, it's not a lot, but it's not nothing, is it? It's not like you're losing 100,000 silver, oh no. And you're also getting a free energy refill. And so, yeah, little bit of something, man. Helps to support the channel also, by the way, whenever you use that promo code. So, really helps us out quite a bit. And, yeah, hopefully it'll help get you through your early grind in this fusion calendar. And so, let's just clear all of the energy off here real quick, because it's just quite messy to look at. Okay, let's get that done. And let's break down every other event here now and talk about how and when you're going to want to be pushing the most, right? Of course, right here, we already know this little overlap section right here, like the next day, the next 24 hours, extremely, extremely important to just blast as hard as you can in the Dragon Tournament. That's going to be super, super crucial. Make as much progress as you can. Christ, get the Dragon Tournament done in a day. if you can, right? That's how intense you gotta go with this. Ideally, you get most of the Dungeon Divers event done towards earning the first Terex the Restless before you even start looking at the champion training event, and you can finish off the Dungeon Divers event with champ training, right? Just running some food through campaign 12, just getting them some levels, champ training, Dungeon Divers, double dip them a little bit to get this one done, and then the Dungeon Divers should be handled. Go ahead and switch over to our Tix men. These should be fine as long as you're putting in the time to grind, right? Ancient Shards. If you've got 50 Ancient Shards, then the Champion Chase tournament should be mostly done. 60 should make you quite a bit more safer to get that done. Champion Training Event, again, it's just about grinding. It's just about having as much food as you can already pre-leveled. Like I say, I've got a lot already pre-leveled and ready to go, ready to use for that. So that's going to be good. Artifact Enhancement Event. If you are doing this correctly, you should be spending around, I don't know why I put an X, scribble that out, 15 million silver right there to get this Artifact Enhancement Event done. Again, as long as you're going into this with a decent amount of silver saved up, you should be fine. I'd highly recommend that you go through your artifacts and take all of your crappy artifacts, stuff that you've won from the campaign and whatever, level them up to rank 4, and then sell them. It's going to earn you a small amount of points. It's quite silver efficient to do it that way. And as long as you're being very, very efficient with how you're spending your silver in these artifact enhancement events, it's going to be a hell of a long grind, by the way, to go through 400 trash artifacts and rank them all up to rank 4 and then sell them off. It's going to be very, very monotonous, but it's the best and most efficient way in terms of silver to get this done. And get the points required to get the Terex. And so the artifact enhancement events, as long as you're prepped, they should be no problem. Classic Arena Takedown, usually these are nice and easy. Wouldn't worry too much about those. Just don't forget about them. Again, you can't miss a single event here. Ice Golem Tournament begins actually a little bit. There's a tiny bit of overlap with the Dungeon Divers here. But really, like, I don't think that you can super bank on that. Honestly, you can get an early start on the Ice Golem tournament if you want, before the Dungeon Divers event starts right here. Alternatively, you can sort of chill a little bit until the Dungeon Divers event starts, and then just absolutely blast it for a couple of days to get both events done over the space of 48 hours. Maybe that's the way that you want to do it. It's really up to you. Yeah, as long as you're hitting both of these, then you should be good. Whoops, we got to switch back colors, man. We do have a nice little kind of break period here in the middle, where as soon as you got this Dungeon Divers event done, there's just an artifact enhancement, which is really just no problem, right? You can just kind of knock that out of the pack. Not the worst thing, and you get like a day and a half sort of rest here in the middle of the calendar, which is always appreciated in these kinds of things. Next up, we've got the Fire Knight tournament. That kicks off here. I think I'm going to be farming like super low level Fire Knight. I'm just going to be spamming the hell out of stage 3 to get this done and just leveling additional food champions while I do this Fire Knight tournament. Again, as long as you've got the energy ready to go and the gems saved up, shouldn't be too rough to get done. Again, we've already spoken about the champion training tournament. Skill tomes, potions, they are going to be your best friend for the champ training tournament. Not bad. Summon Rush shouldn't be too much of a problem as long as you've got the Sacreds ready to go. I do not, by the way. I actually only have 4 Sacred Shards ready to go, and so I'm probably going to have to rip some Voids, maybe a Primal or 2, just to kind of push me over the edge here a little bit. It's going to be quite inefficient, and I'm not happy about it, but it just is what it is. We've got the other Dungeon Divers event that starts just here, and where does this overlap? Interesting. So it overlaps like half and half, almost exactly, with the Fire Knight tournament and a little bit of Spider. Okay. I think realistically, before the Spider tournament even starts, you want to be like 80 or 90% of the way done with the Dungeon Divers event, right? Just so that it's safe. Just so that it's like safe and in the bag. I wouldn't wait around, honestly. I think what I'd actually do, because my Fire Knight team is so crappy, is I'm going to start Fire Knight super early on and just try and get it done in like a day. Blast it out as quickly as I possibly can. And then as soon as Dungeon Divers begins, I'll actually start farming a dungeon that I have a slightly better team in. Something like Spider, and just blast the hell out of that instead. And just like hard swap. As soon as I've got what I need out of the Fire Knight tournament, just abandon the Fire Knight tournament and just start focusing on, yeah, in my case, like Spider or Ice Golem or even Dragon, you know, to just get the Dungeon Divers event done as quickly as possible as well. Because this is going to be the last real challenge, right? As long as you are, yeah, this is going to be like the last real challenge. And so I think I'd recommend doing that. Classic Arena Takedown shouldn't really be an issue. Spider Tournament, make sure that you are farming stage 10 for the Spider Tournament. You get an inordinate amount of good drops from stage 10, and so it should make it quite energy efficient to get it done. Of course, you can farm higher level stages as well if you're actually interested in picking up more high quality accessory artifacts. You can totally do that, but if you're just looking to get this done energy efficiently, then stage 10 is going to be the place to be. And of course, the artifact enhancement event to wrap things up. And alright, man, that's it. That's what it's all about. The grind starts now. Again, hell of a huge grind here at the start of the event calendar, so I'll waste no more of your time. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck, goddammit, in the Vault Keeper Wixwell Fusion. It's going to be a good one. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later, man.